How do we do an introduction for this?
I don't know, it's been a while.
I'm Leo Order for Kit Guru.
I'm Luke Hill for Kickaroo. Welcome to the brand new world, I guess.
And the last time we did this, we were doing this down the phone when we each videoed ourselves and had a phone call on the go with earbuds and God knows what else. And now we're physically, I'm going to touch him to prove this isn't clever video stuff. We're breaking across the line. I'm
calling it HR. This is not acceptable.
So here we are. So it's late September 2021.
Yeah, it's been a while. Early September.
Honest to God, we were together, so to speak. We last physically met at CES, which was the first week of January last year, but it feels like 3-4 years ago. I'm going to have to put this microphone here, actually, because otherwise I'm going to keep turning away from it.
Yeah. I didn't move this because I'll break something.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's a cardioid, so you speak to the little hearty thing there.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, the world has changed since
not many.
Significantly.
And the thing is, but it's changed. But I've picked a topic of conversation which is going to be Intel Alder Lake, and the thing is, Alder Lake is going to be. It's been announced. It's going to be launched. Mm-hmm. We understand.
Well, technically. I don't know the information.
No, neither do I.
No. Okay, fair enough.
I'm not breaking NDAs because all we've been told so far is that it's going to be this, that, and the other. But Intel has their innovation event in San Francisco on the 25th and I think 26th of next month, October. It's a Monday and Tuesday. And it's the replacement for IDF, which died 4 years ago.
Well, it died for like 1 year. And then something new came back. So it never really died,
did
it?
Quite.
It evolved.
Quite. And then since then, they've gone through 3 bosses.
That's quite good going. That is quite good going, actually.
And
that's right. Hit them where it hurts, Leo.
What, in the wallet? So Intel Innovation is going to be where Intel launches Alder Lake 12th Gen and Z690 motherboards, so the big little, or whatever you want to call it, performance efficiency architecture.
Yeah, that's right. It's the P cores and the E cores.
Right, which they were talking about at the Intel Accelerated event last up, which is when the business efficiency cores, it just arrived. It was no longer Atom, it's suddenly efficient. Where did these efficiency cores come from? I asked afterwards. That was it. So, thanks for the heads up. As I'm busy talking about atoms, but no, they're not atoms. And that's when they're going to announce it. And we reckon that Z690 boards, therefore, will be listed probably the week before that, because that's the way these things tend to go.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. So the 3rd week of October is the announcement. The 1st week of November is on sale.
Yeah, that would probably make sense.
For desktop Alder Lake. Apparently. And so you had this ridiculous situation, which was, here's this launch of this brand new thing, which is going to have DDR5. Apparently all the Z690s will be DDR5. Mm-hmm. Here's this brand new Intel architecture, DDR5, Windows 11.
Yeah, which is just a few weeks away, isn't it?
And by the way, can you also travel to California? Like, pick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, number one, no, because the government says so.
Well, yeah, but number one, because we're British. No, the Americans won't let us travel there.
That's right, yes.
No, the Americans have stopped us travelling there. So
that's right, yeah.
So therefore, that's not a thing. Yeah. And number 2 is they've now made it a virtual event.
Oh, okay,
because San Francisco, which has the lowest rate of anything related to that thing we're not even going to mention.
We're not going to mention, no, still taboo.
It's been going on for all that time. Yeah. Has the very lowest rates, but part of the reason they've achieved the lowest rates is by closing everything. So because they're talking having 2,000 visitors for this event.
That's quite a lot, especially at this point in time.
Not just journos, it's also developers and everybody and so on and so forth.
So it is Intel Developers Conference then?
Absolutely. No, categorically. It's exactly
such a pointless cancellation.
Yeah, quite. It's a rebadging. No, it's totally that, 100%. So here's my question to you. With Intel 12th Gen Alder Lake hoving into view, I'm going to show you 3 motherboards.
Uh-oh.
And you tell me which you think is the most interesting. So we have the MSI EK MPG Z490 Carbon EKX.
490, so that's 10th gen then, isn't it?
10th gen. Yeah. We have its counterpart, the Z590.
11th gen, okay.
And arrived this very morning, hold it the right way around, the MSI MPG X570S Carbon EKX.
Okay.
Right now, you see, you can tell which it's this, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is, if I'm being perfectly honest. It is.
Right, and that's the thing. So we'll return to this, but that's actually the thing. And the reason I haven't reviewed the Z490, Z590 boards, although I used at least one of them in a build, is because you, the audience, really don't much care about those platforms. That's the truth of it.
Does seem to be the way.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's no beating around the bush there. That just does seem to be the way, doesn't it?
Right. So Alder Lake is a wholly different animal, but it's going to be, frankly, tricky. I did a video about the Intel Accelerated event, which is, I was talking about Intel Thread Director.
Yep.
Which is a feature built into the hardware of Alder Lake 12th Gen, which sends a hint to the OS, Windows 11, to tell it which cores should be handling which workloads. It's like, okay, so sitting there going, and this was before, this is while Windows 11 is still in beta. We now know Windows 11 is launching 5th of October.
I think 5th of October is the date, yeah.
So 5th of October, Windows 11, and then a couple of weeks later is the announcement of, and reviews of, presumably, of Intel 12th Gen, which rather suggests that when they launch Windows 11 is also when review kits are landing, give or take.
Yeah, you'd think.
So apart from that, I mean,
to be
bloody
fair,
hell.
I know that's quite a busy October. However, back to your point on Z490, Z590,
Yes.
This is an exciting October, I would hope. Even if X, Y, and Z happens and people are not happy, people are happy, whatever, it's going to be exciting because this is now finally a change from Skylake-based architecture. And it's
absolutely.
long overdue.
But it's going to be this thing of how on earth does one differentiate or separate out the effects of the new OS and DDR5 and the new chipset, which must surely be a new chipset rather than just a rebadged chipset. I mean, maybe not actually. Maybe it's just the same old thing. But certainly the new architecture.
Yeah.
And a new process.
This is
Intel 7, which is 10
actually
10 nanometer super thin, or
which is technically the same as Tiger Lake on the laptop side of things, but not Rocket Lake. Am I right in saying that?
Yes. So apart from that, basically it's going to be, here's this thing, which, let's face it, a bloody well better be better than Core i9-11900K.
But there's the caveat, though, and this is the challenge with Intel. We've mentioned it both a few times. The challenge is, which is the best Intel CPU right now if you're buying not high-end desktop? Because high-end desktop Intel is just, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a thing.
No.
You know, it's not.
You mean the X299 platform?
That still is somehow holding on to dear life in some respect.
No, that's not a thing. No,
so which is the best Intel CPU for our audience, for us? Which one would you buy with your money?
Well, I think we think the Core i5 is pretty good.
We think the Core i5 on balance. Which is the best? You're an enthusiast. You've got a big wallet. Which is the best? Which one do you buy?
Well, I actually quite like the 11900 kind of non-super duper high ends.
Okay, so you like the 11900?
Is the KF, isn't it?
The KF. So that one. But you get more cores with the 10900K and the 10850.
No, you're right. Sorry. I see what you're saying. If you step back to the previous, to the 10 core 10th gen, rather than going on to the 11th core.
Yeah.
Right. But then you are in the realms of PCI Express Gen 4, and I do like my Gen 4.
But exactly, this is the awkward caveat. So
nuance.
Obviously, this, it has to be better, but it has to be better than the previous, which in some respects wasn't better than its previous. So it's a bit muddied.
Absolutely, and as we all know, if AMD was to bring out the, what's it going to be called? The Ryzen 7 5800X 3D cache is going to be called what, do you think? What?
Ryzen 7 5800X 3D.
You think they're going to stick to the...
No, I don't know. I'm just going to go with that. I have no idea.
You don't think they might even... 6800, you don't think? No,
I don't think it'd be a new gen. Maybe 5801X
or 5800XT or whatever. They've done that.
They could do XT. Yeah,
okay, so if it's the 5800XT 3D cache and the same price,
that would be interesting.
Then at that point, does it even matter? Thing is, I was watching back because in my moments I do this when I'm looking back through previous videos and hauling out clips to use in some of the more recent stuff. When Steve Burke of Games Nexus photobombed me at Silverstone at Computex when Melissa was behind the camera.
2019?
It was 2019. Again, it's not long ago. It just feels like it's...
It was the last Computex, actually, wasn't it? Last real Computex, if you like.
Thank you. Yes, it was, and it feels like so long ago. And then having stuck his head up behind himself, whoa! And then had a chat, and back then was saying, do you think, is Intel in the bad way? Are you a member of the Intel is on its knees, it's dying, they've had a bad time? Because, I mean, so many people have gone totally for the hyperbole. So your considered Gamers Nexus take on Intel 2019-2020?
I think they're not dying. Like, Intel's like a $200 billion market cap. They're fine. Intel needs to do something in the mainstream DT and enthusiast desktop for sure. But HEDT, they still have some unique advantages, like memory latency is advantaged over Threadripper. And then on the, on desktop side, i7 for sure, i5, those are in trouble. But beyond that, I think they're not going to go away in the next 2 years. It's just going to take them a long time to respond properly, I think.
And he said, Intel's not dying, they're fine, they got all the cash, which obviously is quite correct.
Absolutely, Intel's not going to die. I mean, that is hyperbole to the max.
Absolutely, but nonetheless, I would have rather thought that between that point and now, they'd have kind of got further back on track, and it's been grisly times. Yeah,
it has. It's been a tough one for them, and it's easy to be a Dr. Doom when we're talking about Intel on the enthusiasm of the desktop side of things. And it's easy to, stick up for the plucky underdog, like I know a lot of the audience and the consumers like to do. But the reality is, Intel, they've struggled for a while. It's been 5 years for a while. Yeah,
it's been 5 years. It really is that long. The thing is, when I was having that conversation, and it's only, as I say, because I was literally looking at us having that convo 2.25 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, because you're now years into the thing, but we haven't come out. This is trusting that 12th Gen Alder Lake will be good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm not convinced on the desktop it will be good. I think all it has to do on the desktop is not be rubbish. Because really, Alder Lake, as far as I'm concerned, is for mobile in the first go around.
I think I would agree with that. And I think your point saying it's for mobile makes a lot of sense, because this is basically like an ARM big little architecture in many respects, which makes absolute sense on mobile, because you can have those little low power cores doing stuff and then spring into life those high end cores when you need it without sacrificing battery life. On desktop, does it really matter? Because we were having this conversation the other day. If you've got 8-core previous, so 8-core 11th gen versus 8-core 12th gen, and all else is different, ignoring IPC differences, frequency differences, which one will be faster for a high-performance workload like Handbrake or Cinebench or Premiere? And we were having this discussion, weren't we?
But wasn't my response along the lines of, who the hell uses Handbrake? To which you said, I do.
Yeah. Please, if you use Handbrake, comment in the comment section down below. I need a team of Handbrake fans, because Leo's giving me such stick for this.
It's not so much that. It's the thing of when we're doing testing of things and we need to separate out different bits of hardware. Flip it around. So when Intel showed us at CES last year, and they're showing Tiger Lake, and they're showing really specific workloads.
Here we have two systems. The one on the left is powered by AMD's R7 processor, and the one on the right is powered by our 11th gen Intel Core i7 processor. On both systems, we've sped up a simulated workload that consists of a common task for creators: importing, editing, and then exporting a video. A few years ago, a task like this would have been impossible on a thin and light laptop. So let's see how these systems deliver. The Intel system has 4 cores, but with enhanced AI capabilities, it's able to speed through the workload nearly 1.3 times faster than the competitor's 8-core system. It's clear the best experience is powered by Intel. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks, Ksenia.
It's a little like if you can, do cloud gaming or some such, and it turns out you don't need a graphics card because it's happening over 5G with 0 latency because there's some massive system somewhere the other side of the world drinking electricity. And you go, this is brilliant. Now, I don't care how it works. It might be imps.
But it's fine.
This is terrific. And the Tiger Lake thing was using this tiny little thing, video encoder, where it's like, this is absolutely great. So, a point, and there was a point, is when we're testing these blooming processors, I mean, how the hell am I going to differentiate which cores of a thing are doing what workload?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be tough.
Tough. It's 8 plus 8, but 8 with hyperthreading, so 24 threads.
That's right, yeah. So it's 8 plus 8, so the 8P performance cores, which are normal cores as we'd know them for a desktop
normal
processor.
proper manly cores.
Yeah, it's proper cores, yeah.
And then
or
eight
womanly,
limp-wristed-
or womanly.
or-
You know,
or if you
very
like-
inclusive here at Kiku, yeah. Or womanly cores. They are 8 plus 8, like you say, hyper-threaded, so 16 threads, but the efficiency cores are just a flat 8, no hyper-threaded, aren't they? But like you say, how do you differentiate between that? Because in theory, when they say with Thread Director, in theory, if you had something basic like email or whatever, that would go into your low power core, for example, your efficiency core. Or we were kind of reading between the lines that something basic like email will go into your efficiency core. But if you were doing something useful like, I don't know, just something, Cinebench, single threaded, something like that perhaps, that might go into a high performance core. Until Thread Director dictates that something more important needs that high performance core and boots it out to the efficient core.
More demanding. It was more demanding.
Yes,
and,
that's right,
And
okay.
the things that were more demanding that they mentioned more than once was AI work.
AI work, yes.
Came up again and again.
Yeah.
It was basically your processor is working flat out, all 24 threads. It's like, right. So you've got your 8 core processors are working away, doing something or other, and your 8 weedy things are doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And then along comes an AI workload that demands one of the big boys, so that we have to shuffle stuff down, but it will send a hint to the OS. I was looking at it going, I'm absolutely certain that'll work first time out of the gate, no trouble whatsoever.
It's just not going to... And
What
I would
can
love
possibly go wrong?
I would love to be proved wrong on this.
quite.
Just
Yeah.
that's going to be because the problem occurs. Even if Intel has done a superb job and this works fantastically, what are we going to wait 5 years for Premiere for Adobe to update something that actually makes it work?
Actually, you can put that in the comments below as well. I say Adobe, Luke says Adobe, and this has been blooming years now. We can't both be right.
I'm not going to back my own pronunciation on most things, to be honest. To be honest, Leo.
Yeah, it's very good, very good. As an aircraft grinds overhead. So, Alder Lake, thankfully, in a sense, I'm not being dragged off to the crime center of the universe, viz. San Francisco, because A, the Americans won't let me in anyway, and B, it's a virtual event, so there's
You in
that.
particular.
Well, just Brits,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's just like, thanks very much. But no, because it's a virtual event, so that's not even a question, which is just as well, because, you know, and this is the hysterical thing, right? This is a microcosm of the world in which we live, which is, at Intel, a monumentally large, successful company with a lot of history, you've got one bunch of people that wants a load of reviews done in depth for launch to give maximum things, so you rush out to buy a Z690 with the new processors. And your only question is, which new Intel processor do I want? Not do I want. It's like, yes, I do. Which one?
Of course.
With Gen 4 and whatever else.
Yeah. DDR5, like you said.
And meanwhile, the marketing people think, it'd be really great if we could have all those people writing those reviews somewhere in the west coast of America in the wrong time zone, sitting there so we can have video of the hall looking really busy. And then they can probably show it on the interwebs so you can actually watch it live anyway. So we've got no need to be there because we've been there so many times before. And it'd be like, huh, like that is it. Thanks very much. You know, just as, and you tell me if this smacks of truth, just as somebody saying, by the way, we've got a revised BIOS.
Yeah, about 5 days before. It's like, gee, thanks.
This
I'll
is
just
gonna be on the
delete
date,
all
but-
of my data.
Given it's a new processor architecture on a new process, on a new chipset, with new memory, on new Windows, they've got no chance of getting it right first time. I mean, poor Gigabyte and MSI and Asus and the other people. I mean,
It's going
what
to be tough.
chance?
So I'm glad that you, because you're the one going to be doing this review. But I remember the last time.
Have I not mentioned?
Yeah, you have. So I remember the last time a brand new memory architecture launched to the consumer, which was X99, wasn't it? So Haswell E, high-end desktop, and that was back in summer, late summer 2014. That
Was
was.
that when DDR4 launched?
That was the first consumer introduction of DDR4. I think AMD had on some of the Opteron servers or something like that beforehand. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section below. But Haswell E and X99 was the first introduction of DDR4. What a complete nightmare. Do you remember Asus's OC socket with extra pins that everybody thought was snake oil until it came along and proved that it wasn't? It was a fantastic innovation. And it was basically like, okay, you buy this new DDR4, it's really fast. I want to run it at 2933. No, you can't do that. Okay, I want to run it at 3200. No, you can't do that. I want to run it higher. No, you can't do that because of the sockets. Like, pardon? And it was just absolute nightmare. That was fun. That was fun.
Quite, and so new memory. I mean, I don't know how many new memory standards you've been through over your short life, but I mean,
I do remember DDR2. I've got a stick on my shelf right now.
DDR and also RDRAM, which was a thing back, which was in Intel. Essentially, we need a super duper memory. It's going to be absolutely bloody brilliant.
Yeah, that's probably a bit before my time.
Right, exactly. But you've had these different memories that come along at different times, but each time you move generations, it is like going from the valve to the transistor, which is the best of the previous gen is the good stuff.
Yeah.
And the first of the new stuff is hot, expensive,
poor latencies, particularly.
Awful junk. Always.
Yeah.
It just always is. So the odds they're going to make this DDR5 work right out of the box. I mean, perhaps, fingers crossed, but history does not give me any hope whatsoever.
No, you're right. History's not in favour then. However, am I right in saying that LP DDR5 has been around for quite a while on mobile?
Yes,
I think
yes, quite.
So I wonder if that's one of the key differentiators versus the last time a brand new memory architecture came to the consumer desktop is now they've had experience with mobile, whereas back in 2014 that wasn't really a thing to the extent that mobile's a big deal now. So I wonder if some of the learnings from there have gone across to the desktop, or maybe I'm just clutching at straws there.
So which companies have got experience with it?
Samsung.
Yeah, well,
Samsung. Let's go with Samsung.
So what I mean is, but have your.
But Asus make phones.
That's very true. I was going to say so Gigabyte, MSI. We
they
shall see.
Don't make phones as far as I'm aware.
Quite. Well, mind you, these companies never know what goes on behind the scenes. So when you're in the realms of chips soldered to, because that's the other thing with Alder Lake, they're making a big deal. So it supports DDR4 and 4X and 5 and LP5.
That's right. Yeah.
And the memory controller it's the same memory controller for all of them. Therefore, it's down to how it's used. However, they seem quite clear. People we've talked to seem quite clear. Z690 desktop boards will be DDR5. It suggests that some cheaper boards down the stack, which probably the sort of thing, the equivalent of B560, so B660 or something.
Yeah, something like that, you'd imagine.
H670 may support DDR4. I'm up for that.
Yeah, seems reasonable in my opinion.
And then when it comes to laptops, we're going to have as we have with the current thing, which is the LPs with blazing fast speeds tend to help the graphics along, and we like LP 4266.
4266 is the go-to at the moment
for Tiger Lake, and then people put in the comments below. Of course, the reason it's fast is because it's got faster memory. It's like, really? Thank you so much. We had absolutely no clue. Yes, of course, they've shown us the good stuff to power their blessed processor with their blessed 1 second. And that's why I got my little mascot when I did that preview of Tiger Lake.
It's quite a nice tiger, I like that.
It's great. It's an actual proper job that came from the World Wildlife Fund. It cost me 18 quid.
Ouch.
And it's sat on the shelf ever since. But
there you go.
Yeah, great. But,
easy tiger.
Exactly, it's all of that. But yeah, 4266. So the LP for the laptops, I suspect, will be good stuff for the reasons you've said. But when it comes to the desktop, I get the feeling, the ominous feeling, it's going desktop first rather than laptop first, because Windows 11 will just have launched. So basically, I'm cannon fodder. Myself and many other people. Many other people.
You are a beta tester.
I'm something or other, that's for certain. Yeah, quite. Anywho, to wrap this up before we get on with that motherboard, which is going to be a separate video, Alder Lake is coming. Announcement, we are quite certain, official announcement of all the bits and pieces will be at Intel Innovation in San Francisco, except we'll be home. You'll be able to buy it, we think, the first week of November. Prices appear to be, from all the rumours, exactly the same as the current stuff.
That would be good if that's the case.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. No, I mean,
the current stuff's expensive, but nobody wants a price increase.
Right. And the idea that Intel can charge a premium right now, that's not a thing.
There's a lot of competition across the border to charge a premium. I will say I'm particularly excited for this one, and I think the last time I was this excited for an Intel launch would have probably been maybe 7 series high-end desktop. So that was when they introduced the 10 core and then the
Oh,
bigger
okay.
core count ones, which, yeah, you know, is quite niche. But this feels like a big switch as opposed to
That's huge.
fundamentally a regurgitation of Skylake architecture. This is exciting, especially with DDR5 on there too. I
Yep.
think this is exciting.
Yep, no, this has got lots of stuff. I'm just praying it all works. I really am genuinely just going forward. Just don't be a problem.
I have complete faith.
That's because you're not doing it.
Does my sarcasm come across in the video?
Right.
I'm going to turn my phone off to you for the month.
Right, we've rambled enough. So that's the opening little chat for our first time seeing each other in so long.
Feels great to be back.
Yes, great. So yes, Intel Alder Lake 12th Gen, it's coming and it's coming soon, along with a load of other stuff. That's it. We're done with this one.